Hey, you, I was thinking about you. And you know what I was thinking? I was thinking it's hard for you to soar when you've been living so far beneath your values that you can't even look at yourself in the mirror. Today, we're going to be talking about the tension that you feel when your life or your job or your relationship or even your circle just does not align with your values. And you feel like you're losing you in the process. So whether that's your corporate job where you're paid well, listen, you're paid well, but you have to be quiet in order to survive. Or like if you're in a relationship and it looks great on the outside, but it slowly erodes your self-worth and how you feel about yourself, or friendships that you feel like you are always the one that's overdoing, overperforming, over showing up, then this episode is for you. So stay tuned. According to a study at the University of Chicago, 60% of professionals say that they have worked in a job and that they regularly have to make decisions that conflict with their personal values. 60%. And then research from Gallup says that misalignment in the values is the leading or one of the leading causes for burnout, for disengagement, and depression. And a quote pulled from that study said, it's like you might be respected by others, but it's like you can't even look at yourself, or you don't even know who you are. It's like you're a stranger to your own self. And that is because it's like you've drifted away from who you actually are. And so let me tell you about someone that I've worked with. Now we're going to call her Courtney. And she was on paper doing well. She was making great money. She was being promoted. Her team respected her. And on the outside, it looked amazing. She was doing great and things were going in her favor. However, at night, she would sit in silence and cry because every meeting during the day, she just had to nod and smile or just nod in agreement to things that were unethical to her. In every presentation, she had to downplay what was on the inside of her. And she would do that just to fit in the room. Has anybody ever been there where you feel like on the inside, you're like, wait, this is not me. How did I even get here? Well, one day she said to myself, I just feel like I'm trading my soul. And I cannot continue to trade my soul for my salary. Now let that sink in. Trading your soul for your salary. Like, this is the thing. Who you are is at your core, your belief system, your values. And when you're being paid a lot of money, but your values are being overrun, at some point, there's got to be some tension. At some point, there's got to be a winner in the tug of war. Otherwise, you are in misery. So I remember being in a place where that was happening to me, and I was caught up in the momentum. I was caught up in the momentum of the salary bump, the bonus. I was caught up in what could happen, and the lines began to get blurred. And then I said, wait a minute, at some point that internal meter said, wait, what you're doing is not right. So you can't sign on to this. And I had to make a decision, and I had to make a decision to speak up. And it's like a big sigh happened on the team. Like, people were like, oh my gosh, I'm glad somebody stood up, because I was starting to question it. And you know what really messed me up is that somebody said, I was going along with it because I felt like it was wrong, but I value you. And they were talking to me, value you and your internal monitor. And you were going along with it. So I figured it was okay. So that hit me hard, that not only was I feeling misaligned internally, but someone that was watching and using me as their meter, they were going to go along with it because it didn't look like it was wrong in my eyes. Listen, I'm not telling you to live for anybody else, but I'm saying that hit home. And I'm telling you, from then on, I never allowed myself to get compromised. And I didn't go far into the project, but it was far enough that I was at meetings and we didn't launch with with my participation, but we were close. And I am so glad that I said something, but I wonder if there's anybody out there suffering in silence, that you're like teeter-totter, you're on the edge of thinking, wait a minute, am I doing something that's misaligned? Is this crossing a line? And here's some internal signs. So internal signs that you're out of alignment, like you feel anxious on Sunday night, and it's not just about the workload. Or you over-explain everything, afraid that your real voice won't be accepted. And it's almost like you're talking yourself into it. Or you feel physically sick or shut down after being around certain people, or after being in certain circumstances, situations, around certain tables. And then you start forgetting who you used to be before the compromise. Like the lines really get blurred for you. Those are some signs that you could be out of alignment. You know what's wrong when you've gotten good at surviving it. And this is just an aside. So many people have been living in misalignment for so long that they've adopted habits. They've adapted a persona that is okay with it, but then they've adopted habits that help them to forget that the lines got blurred or crossed. So I just want to tell you, listen to your internal meter. If you feel like you've crossed the line, it's something to evaluate. So if that's your sign that you may be out of alignment, I want you to do some soul searching. I want you to really think about what it is that you're into, what it is that you're being asked to do, with whom you're spending your time. Why are you feeling out of alignment? Now, I'm a woman of faith, so I would immediately pray, and I would ask God to show me where I'm out of alignment and get some clarity. So you need to get clarity if that's you. So what's really happening when you live out of alignment, and I'm an emotional intelligence coach, and when you live out of alignment, your emotional intelligence gets hijacked. It's like your self-awareness turns into self-avoidance. So it's like you compartmentalize yourself, and instead of being self-aware, you put that persona on the front, and your real self, it's like you're avoiding coming into contact with your real self. And your empathy becomes an enabler. And for resilience, a big part of emotional intelligence, it turns into repression. So you stop thriving and you start managing your mask. How many of you have been managing your mask? You've worn the mask so long that you don't even know where you end and it begins. It is important that you understand what's happening when you live out of alignment, when you live and are asked to do things that cause you to compromise. And there is a cost. I mean, one, it's emotionally draining. Two, it's physically draining. You feel it. You feel what it feels like to have to play the role. But it's not just costly in the present, but it's costly to continue to stay there. It costs you your peace. It costs you your authenticity. It costs you your health, and it costs you your future self. How do you build into your future self, which started out about to be promising, if you compromise and you do the very things that at your core you don't value? So you're building yourself into something that you don't even believe in. So it costs you all of that. The research from Johns Hopkins links emotional suppression to chronic stress, insomnia, anxiety, and even cardiovascular issues. So you may be fooling yourself or telling yourself that it's just a job and I'm making an honest living and it's not really me and my voice doesn't matter. As long as I'm true to myself. Do not fool yourself. You cannot pretend to be one way for a great period of the day, a great portion of your life, and still be okay. So your peace, your authenticity, your health, and your future self are at risk. And then the research says so is your body. So stress, insomnia, anxiety, all of them for an extended period of time can lead to a cardiovascular issue. And spiritually, I already told you I'm a woman of faith. You already know God did not put such greatness in you for you to shrink. So it's time for you to check in, tap in, and identify where you might have strayed from your compass. Let me ask you this question. Where in your life do you feel like you're playing along just to keep the peace? Where you're kind of biting your tongue, nodding, like I mentioned with Courtney in the meeting, nodding just to not make waves. Where are you playing along? What values have you silenced just to stay included? I mean, this is not 8th grade gym class where you pretend like you like volleyball just so you're part of the cool kids. We're talking about life. People make life decisions just because they don't want to be alone. People make career decisions just because they want a paycheck. I am asking you, what values have you silenced just to stay included? And what truth have you buried so deep that you barely remember it? Living out of alignment is a slow form of self-abandonment. Let that sink in. You're afraid to be alone. And I get it. It's part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We need to be with people. And even God, when he made Adam, he said, I don't want man to be alone. So I get it that we need people. We need to feel valued. We need to feel accepted. But I want you to know, when you abandon your values, when you live a life outside of being true to your core, living out of alignment is a slow form of self-abandonment. We frown on people that leave their children, leave their families, that abandon those to whom they have a great responsibility. We frown on that. I want you to consider you abandoning you is something that we also should frown at. Are you ready to pick yourself back up? I mean, are you ready to get back in touch with who you are? It's important to get back in alignment. If that's you, if you feel like, you know what, I have lost a little bit of myself. And I know this may be challenging to hear, but even in political discussions, political rhetoric, political rants and opinionated rants in an effort to preserve freedom of speech, some of us have gotten out of alignment of our core of being kind to humankind, being kind to people regardless of differences of opinion. It's time for us to get back to what's important to us. It's time to get back to our value. So steps to getting back in alignment. Name the value. What do you truly believe is being violated? What is that value? Name it. Number 2, tell yourself the truth. Stop gaslighting yourself. It is affecting you. Stop saying you don't care when you actually do. Just because you've gotten really good at suppressing it when it shows up to the forefront of your mind, just because you've gotten real good at masking it, hiding it, covering it, burying it, I need you to tell yourself the truth. It is affecting you. Number 3, step 3, set one micro boundary. We're going to start slow. We're going to start small. Set one micro boundary. Choose one way to honor yourself this week. How can you honor you this week? Number 4, find a safe space. Coaching, therapy, or a purpose-aligned circle. Get back to the people who share your values. Get into that circle. Be intentional about spending time there because it'll help you drift back to you. And number 5, plan your exit or reset. Be intentional about making sure that you are set up to soar. Yeah. If it's a vacation, if it's a retreat, if it is a new job that you need to get to, if it's a relationship that you need to get out of, I want you to start planning your exit. I want you to remember what's important. Remember how you felt when you were aligned. Remember what your peace felt like. Remember how it felt to look at yourself in the mirror and be okay with who you've become and who you're becoming. Plan your exit and prepare to soar. Plan your exit and prepare to soar. Prepare your exit and prepare to soar. You weren't created to blend in with dysfunction. You were called to disrupt it, first in your life and then in the lives of others. You don't need anybody's permission to choose peace. You just need the courage to stop betraying yourself. And when you're ready, I've got you. If this episode did something, sparked something in you, I want to leave you with two things. One, it's already in the description of this episode. I want you to download the free Boundary Reset Reflection Sheet. Let's start small, but let's start. And second, I want you to book a career clarity call or an empowerment session. Listen, we'll figure out how to realign your life, your work, or your leadership with your values. You deserve a life that doesn't require you to lose yourself. You deserve alignment because it's your time and it's your time to soar. Because, hey, you, I was thinking about you. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking it's time for you to soar.